Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready.
Well, good morning, Keyshawn. I hear you're stranded out near Durango, Colorado, because the FAA canceled a lot of flights. So you're headed to Chicago for the Professional Bull Riders Association event. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I think believe it's the sixth event of the season for the 2023 Unleash the Beast season. They'll have 2 long rounds, a short round, and also 15-15 come Friday and a Saturday night. And it's gonna be a great event. It's usually a great venue each and every year, and us riders usually enjoy it.
Oh, that's good. For people who are listening in on the morning when we do broadcast this show on Saturday morning, you can still catch this event. It's out at the Allstate Arena in Rosemont. And I remember seeing the Grateful Dead there and Bob Seger there, but I've never been to a rodeo there. This will be a first time. So, Keyshawn, you were the Rookie of the Year in the PBR in 2018. You're still a young fellow. I think you have a ranking of about 15th. How do you stack up in the competition these days?
Bull riding and any other sport's a young man's sport. So I'm 25 years old now, and I was 21 whenever I won that Rookie of the Year. So I'm kind of considered like a veteran, but kind of coming into my prime as well, with the youth that I have right now, and then on top of the experience. So I'm kind of in a good spot right now in my career. And, from right now until about, getting towards 30 is kind of the prime years of that knowledge. And as a man, your physical health is peak. So I'm in a good spot right now of progression and becoming an even better rider.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm turning 81, and I don't think I'm ever getting on a bull, though I do hope to get on a horse again. What's the toughest, roughest bull you ever rode? And did you ever ride any of the champion bulls in riding the last few years, riding solo, Whoopa, and Smooth Operator?
The only I've gone on riding solo once and Whoopa once. I bucked off Whoopa fairly quick, and then about rode riding solo. I've rode a bull called Chiseled. He was a champ before, and back in 2020 I rode that bull, and rode another bull called Pookie Holler, which when I did ride him, at that moment in time, he had an unridden streak going on. So I've faced up and matched up against some really good bulls in my time. But yeah, it's always exciting, and I look forward to those matchups because it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, well, I was reading somewhere, actually, there's a really good article in the New York Times this past week, basically talked about how the bulls have been bred in such a way that they're really getting harder and harder to ride. Some of the talk in the article was that it's actually the mother of the bull that might have more of the bucking properties than the bull itself, the father. But they talked about how these bulls are getting really harder to ride, and that the percentage of time that the riders stay on has decreased, although it went up to about 30% this last year. But what do you know about the bulls over the last 4 years that you've been riding on the circuit? Are they getting tougher and stronger and harder to ride?
I believe the consistency over the field is definitely there versus, before you might just have one tough one, two, or just a handful of bulls that are kind of tough. But I feel like right now the consistency of bulls that are really bucking hard or really athletic is definitely broadened. So you're running into them a lot more often, and that's why the percentage goes down. Riding percentage goes down is based off of that. But within the past few years that I've ridden on tour, it's been like that, and it only continue to be like that. So as riders, you got to adjust and you got to get better and better as the bulls get better and better as well.
I remember in my own life in the late 40s going up to going to Madison Square Garden and seeing the rodeo. And I don't remember the bull riding. I remember a lot of horses. Is that the sport itself really has taken off in the last 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, rodeo and stuff like that was the first, like the original sport here back in the day in the U.S. So I feel like a lot of things are kind of going back. But I mean, Madison Square Garden, they've had rodeos there for years, even though people will get an unexpected, like wonder why that has happened. But it just grows even more, mainly because we visit bigger cities. I mean, like I said, we're going to Chicago, and we visit Sacramento, California, Anaheim, California, and in Dallas, Texas. I mean, we go places where there's big cities and lots of people, and where they maybe generally don't see rodeo as much because it's a Western lifestyle, and Western lifestyles tend to be more rural than actually within the city limits.
I'm remembering all my experiences with bulls these days, and I remember as a kid and growing up in Connecticut when the pickup truck would show up with this bull, and they'd let the bull loose in the field with a bunch of cows. It was quite an event, but that bull certainly wasn't anywhere near the size of the bulls that you ride. I'm wondering about your own experience as an athlete. What kind of training do you do? I've seen pictures of you working with the ropes. I've seen pictures of you running. Talk about your diet. Talk about your training and staying in shape to do this task.
So for me, it just varies. My weight fluctuates throughout the season. It's obviously tough since we're always on the road and whatnot. So I mean, my caloric intake varies from 2,500 calories to 1,500 calories, depending on whether how much weight I've gained or trying to maintain or trying to lose some weight throughout the season. My training wise just kind of consists of obviously I do a lot of strength training with kettlebells, dumbbells, barbells, just like any other sport, stretching and just overall, just it's a main athletic standpoint of just trying to be as athletic and healthy as you can throughout the season.
I'm thinking about what it must be like when you're on a bull. I never even got on one of those bull machines at a bar, but I'm wondering what goes through your mind, and are you conscious of what your moves you're making, or is it just kind of instinct? Do you ever get yourself in the zone? The athletes talk about being in the zone where things are going right and working the way they want to, kind of a higher consciousness. What's the sensation for you when you're on a bull?
Yeah, we all as bull riders and as athletes, everybody gets in the zone and knows what's happening in that moment in time, and everything slows down, even though it may be very fast. Um, yeah, there's times where when I ride, I can think of exactly, what the bull's doing and pretty much know what he's gonna do next, or then even maybe not even there, like I'm riding a bull and everything seems to be becoming very easy and clicking easily that I'm not even thinking about that moment. I'm thinking about what I might be having for dinner later or anything like that. And there's times where it's hard to be in that zone, and for some reason you can't click in it, and no matter what you do, you can't get in it, and everything seems just as fast as everybody else sees it, and as crazy as everybody else sees it.
Keyshawn, what's the first bull you rode, and what led you to be a bull rider?
My first big bull was in a rodeo school back in 2009 in Colorado, but before that, I got on like calves and sheep and steers and stuff growing up to progress. But I saw it on TV when I was about 5 years old, and I just knew that's what I wanted to do.
Nice. I'm wondering, you're Native American. I think you're Navajo or Dene, however you prefer to be called. I'm wondering what it's like on the bull riding scene. I mean, it's not just white cowboys anymore. There are plenty of Brazilians on the circuit. And there certainly are been a lot of African American black riders. Ezekiel Mitchell comes to mind. What's it like on the scene among the riders? And particularly among people, so-called minorities, Native American, Black, or Latino?
Yeah, I think I believe like where we're at in our riding in our locker room for the most part, everybody's there because they're good enough to be one of the top 35 bull riders in the world. So there's not much bias in anything. Everybody respects each other and understand each other there in the locker room. We all get along and we're all there for one job, and that's to try to be the best. So it's good to see, other people from other backgrounds, and it helps each and everybody learn about each other a little bit more and understand our backgrounds, where we come from, our cultures, and you start to become friends with more people.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm an old guy. I go way back. I knew a number of people from the American Indian movement who were at Wounded Knee, was involved with them on stuff here in Chicago. I brought the Native American band Exit, Crossing of Indian Tribes in, visited out there with Wilbert Sosi in Farmington, New Mexico, when they were having some demonstrations. I'm wondering if you are influenced by the struggles of Native American people, the Dakota Access Pipeline demonstrations, Native Americans turning out to vote in Arizona and New Mexico in the last presidential election. Any thoughts on any of that?
For me, like I always support my Native American people, and I'm always all for for my people. So when it comes to different things in mind, I always have to back my people in a lot of things, and because I know that they support me in what I do, and they're willing to take my side and help me reach my dreams and my potential within my sport, and they're always going to be wholehearted with that. So when it comes to situations that affect my people in a negative way, I do like to make sure I am knowledgeable about it and try to help out in which way I can.
Keyshawn Whitehorse, tell us a little bit about your hopes and your dreams for the future, for yourself, for Native people, for all people.
The main thing for all people is just to hopefully they can accomplish whatever dreams and desires that they have. And for the Native American people, I like them to continue to be strong and resilient, keep pushing forward in their life, and know that they can do anything that they put their mind to. And then for myself, I look forward to becoming the best version of myself that I could possibly be.
Oh, that's good. Do you happen to know the names of any of the bulls you're going to be riding this weekend?
As I know right now, the only bull that I know that I have drawn is the 15. They're still working on the rest of the rounds, but I do have world champion Lucky Bull riding solo in the 15.
Keyshawn, let me ask you: is there a kind of a minor league for professional bull riders? I'm just thinking about. I've seen various rodeos, small rodeos, like I think Kankakee. There's an outfit of black cowboys, and that was the last rodeo I went to. I'm just kind of interested in how the sport develops and how people move up in the Bull Riders Association.
Indeed, they do have lower divisions. They have the Velocity Tour, Twine Pro, and then during the summer they'll have Challenger tours. So there's different tours that help riders progress to become in the top 35 in the world. But in the Bulls and the Bull Power isn't as strong. Interplay baseball and stuff, but those are developmental leagues. More so, the Velocity Tour is that developmental league where guys are there. They might be there for a little while.
You know where you're going next? I mean, what's the circuit? It seems like there's something going on every weekend. It's like playing a football game every weekend.
Yeah, so this weekend is Chicago, Illinois, and then the weekend after that will be Duluth, Georgia, followed by Indianapolis, Indiana, by the end of the month of January, and then going into the new month of February, Sacramento, California. So yeah, I know a little bit. Just try to keep the event schedule though kind of one at a time, so my mind stays focused at what's ahead of me, right in front of me.
How are you doing this year? Where are you fitting in the standings?
I'm 15th in the world right now. Uh, Currently, I was up higher in the standings, had a few weeks of trouble, but gonna work my way back up and just trust the process and keep going ahead.
How about your relationship with the Bulls? I assume this is, I think I read somewhere the Bulls, they're bred to buck and twist and turn and jump, but they're actually pretty mellow and friendly. I don't know if it's like Ferdinand the Bull story, but what's your take on the Bulls? What's your vibe with them when you're getting on and making the adjustments with your rope in your hand and the glove? What's going on for you?
For the most part, I try to stay calm, cool, collected. A lot of times, these bulls and a lot of bulls, majority of bulls, they're pretty calm and mellow bulls, especially out in the pasture, and they know but they know their job there at the bull riding arena. So they're just like us. They have adrenaline going, and they get amped up. And sometimes that's when you see them jump around in the back and stuff. But there are some bulls that are just purely mean. They have an attitude like that, and some are wilder than the others. But my job in my area is to control only what I can actually control. So I try to stay calm as I can because the animals feel that energy coming from you. So I try to make sure to stay calm, cool, and collected. And
Well, Keyshawn Whitehorse, it's good talking with you, and I'm wishing you a lot of luck. I hope I get to meet you out there this weekend. Let me ask you in our closing moments here on Live from the Heartland, any parting thoughts you have for all of your fans here in Chicago?
I appreciate my fans' support there in Chicago and in the show. Hopefully, I can put on a good event for y'all. And then looking into this new year, I hope you guys accomplish all the dreams and goals that you have at hand in front of you.
Okay, brother, right on, and thank you very much. It was great talking to you. I hope I get to see you in person sometime, hopefully this weekend. And we really wish you continued good luck on the professional bull riding circuit. We know you're a hell of a guy just from reading about you and talking with you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.